Welcome back to the channel. We're playing 20 questions with.
I'm Nicholas Pasquale from Pins by Pasquale. I'm on Instagram and I just recently set up my website about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. It's just pinsbypasquale.com.
All right, let's get into the questions. When I say fountain pen, what pen do you think of?
Ooh, this one, my Pilot Custom 823.
A nice pen.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
What nib is on it?
I have a broad that Mark Bacchus did an architect on, one of his crisp architects. It's probably my favorite grind. I've got it on like, I think 3 or 4 pins now.
How did you get into pens?
So first, I used to collect like high-end pocket knives and decided, hey, I want to get into pins, but they're expensive because I liked the kind of the ballpoints, stuff like this. This
Hmm.
is the Nottingham Tactical, just click pin. And looking at how much pins cost, I couldn't justify paying the price for an expensive pin. So I bought a $900 lathe and I spent several $100s on materials, drill bits, sandpaper, you name it, everything. And I was very wrong on saving money just by making the pins. So my introduction to pins was making kit pins. Made those for a year and a half. Wanted to start kind of progressing more into the custom stuff. Looked on YouTube, saw Jim Hines doing the stuff. Ended up meeting him at a pin makers gathering or a pin turners gathering, should I say, in Nashville. Saw him do a demo, and then the following year, I was actually doing the demo with him up there on the stage, which was pretty cool.
That's so cool. What was your first fountain pen?
Ooh, my first fountain pen, I should have it, but I don't even think I have it anymore. I think the kit name was the Raw kit. So it was, the hardware on it was like a kind of almost stonewashed stainless steel. It had a number 5 Schmidt nib on it. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea about fountain pen friendly paper or inks or anything. I didn't even realize I didn't plug the cartridge in all the way. The little cartridges that you've got to puncture. I didn't realize that at the time. I had no idea what I was doing. So that was my introduction to fountain pens.
What's your current daily driver?
Ooh, great question. I I have a couple of things. I carry usually one or two of my own pens, and then I'm stuck between the 823 and the Sailor King pen. Those are my two kind of like factory pens that I'll carry. This is the one that I've just really kind of been daily driving a lot recently. It's Jonathan Brooks Primary Manipulation 1. It's got the clear acrylic body, got the big Twisby swipe converter, and then the nib is the Monty Winfield. It's the Vario or the Vario. It's got a titanium housing. It's a steel flex nib. It's really fun. So I've got a couple.
Like, it's fun. What's your favorite ink?
Ooh, Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo. It's a mouthful, but it's my favorite.
Yamabuto's a great color.
Great.
What's your favorite brand of either pens or ink?
I would have to say right now, Pilot. I love their pens. I love their inks. I love their nibs. The only Pilot I have right now is the 823. I've gotten to write with a bunch, and I have almost every color of the Iroshizuku ink. So I would have to say it's definitely Pilot at this time.
Pilots are a lovely pen.
Yep.
Vintage or modern?
Modern, 100%.
Do you swatch all your inks?
I used to, and then I kind of stopped because when I send a pen out, I do an ink sample. I try to do an ink sample with all of my pens, and I'll try to swatch the ink on the little thank you note that I send out with the pen. So yes and no, but I don't have like a personal collection of ink swatches.
Okay. Do any pens always get the same ink or do you always switch it up?
This pen, the 823, stays inked with. Aziza Gourmet Pens, her exclusive Ackerman ink. It's the business in the front, party in the back. It's a really nice kind of blue black. It's a great like practical everyday ink. Other than that, I don't really have like dedicated pens for dedicated inks other than the 823 right now.
When you said her gourmet pens exclusive, I was like, it could be the hot pink or it could be the black.
Yep, the blue black.
It's a good color. Do you keep your writing samples so you know how every nib writes, or do you just know the nib in every pen?
I don't really have a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot of pens. I've got some of mine. I've got some from other makers, but I don't really keep like a writing sample on hand of like what's in what. Because if I get bored with an ink, I know this is frowned upon, but I'll just dump it out and clean the pen and refill it.
I've been known to do it.
Sure.
Because like once you get bored, like if you're not using it with that color, what's the point of keeping
It
it?
just it just sits.
Exactly.
So,
What's a pen you wish you could see in person?
ooh. Um, I love the Sean Newton Prospector. I love seeing those in person, but every time I see one online and like a really cool ebonite, or occasionally when he'll do them out of a cool celluloid, I always wish I could see those in person. So,
Yeah, I agree with you there. What's your current grail?
ooh, I don't know that I have a current grail other than eventually having, a pen made by some of my friends who are makers. Eventually, if I'm able to get on their list, Tim Cullen is one of them. I would love to eventually have a pen by David Broadwell, but I don't necessarily have like a Grail factory pen.
Yeah,
Uh,
it doesn't have to be a factory pen.
sure, sure.
I think somebody's named the Mammoth Tusk pen, and I
Okay.
remember whose it was, but then I had to track down the exact one they wanted.
Hmm.
There are some really fun maker pens that are
Oh, absolutely.
cool that you just don't see from big brands. What pen would you recommend to a beginner?
Ooh, if I were to recommend a pen to a beginner, that's a hard one because I feel like when someone gets in this hobby, they could start off with, a $50 pen or a $30 pen, or, maybe even something even more budget friendly. But I feel like as soon as they're hooked, they're going to go overboard and they're eventually going to want to spend more money on a pen and say, oh, I wish instead of buying these 10 pens, I would have saved up to get the one. I'm more of the thought process of the whole, buy once, cry once. I think that the 823 is great to have in any collection. And if you look online, you can find them used very affordably. A lot of websites even have them new for, way, way, way off. If I were to recommend like a really nice pen to a beginner and they didn't want to spend a lot, I would tell them to hunt around on Amazon and try to find one of the Sailor Pro Gear Slims for like $50. You get a 14 karat gold nib and very affordable for what you're getting. That really would be what I would recommend to a beginner if they wanted to have a really nice pen, really nice experience, less than $100.
Yeah. And often in colors that are just overstock on
Yep.
Amazon.
Yep.
What ink would you recommend to a beginner?
Any of the Iroshizukus, obviously I'm biased, but I haven't had one that didn't do everything I wanted it to do. I feel like they're great on all papers. I know I'm not an ink expert, but I know some people don't like them because they're super wet.
Mhm.
But it seems like, if you put a wet ink in a dry pen, it'll write nice, or if you put a dry ink in a wet pen, it'll write nice. But I'm just a sucker for big fat lines and like, oh gosh, I don't have it right here with me right now, but Tim Cullen just did a custom nib for me, one of his Hooligan #8 nibs. Got a blade grind on it from Mark Bacchus. It's got a double slit feed. It's ridiculous.
I saw it on Instagram when you
It's
posted it, and I went,
fun.
"Ooh, that's fun."
It's super fun.
What advice would you have for somebody wanting to try out fountain pens who might be a bit intimidated by them?
That's actually a great question. I was very much intimidated by them and I didn't know what to do. So I kind of stumbled, like I said, into this maybe a little bit differently than I would say most people in the whole fountain pen world do. You know, some people might see pen online and say, hey, I want to buy it. I stumbled into it by saying, hey, I want to make pens less expensive than whatever. Hmm. I would I would say definitely if you have the chance to go to a pen show, go to a pen show, walk around, meet people, talk to the people at the tables. The Atlanta Pen Show just finished up. It was a great show. I think it was a little bit slower than last year, but 99.9% of people in this hobby are going to be incredibly friendly and helpful, especially on, I'm mostly on Instagram. So I know a lot of people are happy to answer questions. Hey, where'd you get that pen? Where'd you get the ink? Where'd you get the paper? Just reach out and ask. I know as an introvert, it's kind of hard to want to ask questions and want to reach out for fear of like, I'm not telling you where I got that. I don't think you're going to find a lot of that in this hobby. I feel like most people are very nice. So definitely ask questions, whether it be through Instagram DMs, going to a pin show, emails, asking questions through websites. Most people here are amazing.
And I think I've definitely learned that through this series because this series does not happen without me reaching out to people and asking them to do episodes. And I am such an introvert. Like I hate sending that DM to people.
That's funny.
Doesn't matter if I have a long time thread conversation with them. As soon as I have to ask them to do this show, I hate it.
That's funny.
Yeah. What filling mechanism do you think is most interesting, regardless of if you actually like to use it or not?
Mm, I think honestly, a piston filler. I haven't quite gotten there yet to make my own. I've used the William Shakur 3D printed piston mechanism,
Okay.
and then I'm using another one that comes from a manufactured pen now. But the potential for customizations, I do a lot of clear or demonstrator style pens. So when the time does come for me to make my own piston mech, I'll be able to utilize different materials or different metals, and you'll be able to see that in the pen. And as big or as small as you could make a piston mechanism, I think you could do a lot of really cool design elements with that inside of the pen. So I think that's a cool one, but I think the most practical is still just going to be a cartridge converter.
That's fair. It's the easiest to use.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
What nib size do you prefer to write with?
Broad or bigger? Broad or bigger? I have this thing I'll tell my customers if they ever ask. I had one lady send me an extra fine nib to write with, and I make the joke of like, why have all these different color inks if they're all going to look the same when you use an extra fine nib? That's my opinion, but
I have a single extra, I have two extra fine zinc depth. One is waterproof black for
okay,
line and sketching, and the other one has Yamabuto in it because I find that Yamabuto, even in an extra fine, has some super fun sheening. Like,
sure.
other than that, an extra fine is useless. Don't.
That's funny.
Yeah. Like, I want the fun stuff.
Yep. I've
Give
got glasses. I got to see big letters. Like
exactly.
I can't read, you
Yeah.
know?
I'm blind without these. Don't give me small text.
That's right.
Is there a style of nib you love or find interesting but would never actually use?
Ooh, I think stubs are super interesting. At the Atlanta Pen Show, I just saw a Mont Blanc that had like, I don't know if it was a music nib or what it had on it, but it was huge. It was like, it seemed like it was like 5 or 6 or 7 millimeters like wide. It was ridiculous. It was cool. Would probably never use that. It would just highlight how awful my penmanship is.
Do you always use the same paper? If so, what paper? If not, what paper's your favorite?
I try to stick with the Tomo River. I've got a couple of like packs of the 100, the 100 packs of the loose leaf paper. I'm hoping to like make some of my own notebooks where I can just like tear the sheets out. But what I use most is like the Life bank paper. I really like how that, performs with a lot of the pens and inks. And also I love to be able to just tear a sheet out right on the front and the back. I have this weird thing where like I'll buy a notebook, I'll buy a really nice notebook, and then I'm nervous to use it, and then I'm nervous to write on the front and the back of the paper. And also, if I do something dumb, it's hard to rip the paper out. So I kind of have to be on a system where I can tear the sheets out.
I'm the same way. Like I love small notebooks. Give
Hmm.
something that's like the traveler inserts that's 64 sheets,
Sure.
where it's small commitment, or a pad where I can just take out sheets. Like
Yep.
away.
Yep. Yep. Totally get that.
And finally, what is your least favorite ink or ink color family?
I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I am not a fan of shimmer inks. Any shimmer inks, not a fan.
That's fair. That is becoming a frequent answer in this series.
Me personally, I feel like I would only want the inks in my pens to be reliable. Um, and I would just hate to like have to deal with a clogged feed or blah 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 blah. I say that, and then I have a ridiculous hot pink in my Papa J pen. It's the what is this? The Andorilium, it's like rosette or whatever pink,
Yes,
super bright. But I mean, is it a practical ink? Debatable, but it's just fun. But yeah, I am definitely not a fan of shimmer inks. I had a bunch of bottles, and then whenever I would get the Diamine Inkvent calendars, I would just send those bottles out with the pens as the ink sample. I'm like, I don't even want to open it. I'm not even gonna take the plastic off. Someone else enjoy it, not me.
that's fair. I have very limited shimmer inks. Like I pick them up from very specific brands, and that's
Sure.
there are lots of people that don't like shimmer inks. I'm surprised at how many exist for how many people dislike them.
Yeah. Now, if I used like dip pens a lot more, I think it would make more sense for me. Um, I have one dip pen and I don't do a whole lot with it. It just kind of sits. I just show it off to people. But if I did more with dip pens or, how Aziza does her, she does like all the doodles and stuff on her pages, it makes a lot of sense in that kind of scenario. But for me personally, shimmerings just don't make sense. So I don't think I have any more shimmerings at this point.
Thanks for playing 20 questions.
Absolutely.